Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Julie here, and welcome to my Crackin' the Whip 3-part training video series for Nurse AIde Instructors. In Series 1, I talked to you all briefly about time management. In Series 2, I'm going to talk to you about creativity and why it's so important, okay? Because creativity actually helps with student engagement. Hey, but before I get started, I just want to remind you to smash that subscribe button, kick the like button on this video and all of my other videos. You kicking that like button is actually helping me out by making my channel more recognizable here in YouTube and also making it easier for folks to locate in YouTube and on Google. And don't forget, ring that notification bell so you can be notified whenever I upload new content. Hey, tell me, what do you think about this? What do you think about this little excerpt of a PowerPoint slide? Does it look familiar to you? In the comment section below, tell me what you think. Okay, tell me what you think about this PowerPoint slide. Not mine, but the one, see the little emoji there that's looking all confused? That little excerpt right there. Tell me what you think. If you're joining me in this premiere, go ahead and type it in. Because I'm going to tell you what I think. I think it stinks. Yeah, I think it stinks. And because I think it stinks, I'm going to move on to the next slide, okay? All right, what about this picture? Does this look familiar to you? Are you that instructor that likes to stay in your comfort zone? Maybe that comfort zone is sitting in your chair behind your desk, reading from a book. Maybe your comfort zone is standing behind a podium, reading off of PowerPoint slides. Maybe it's just standing in front of the classroom, holding your book, right? Or reading from the PowerPoint slides. Does this look familiar to you? Are you one of those instructors that are stuck in their comfort zone? You don't want to move from your comfort zone. I'm going to go ahead and advance to the next slide. Go. Oh my gosh. Look at this. Whenever you look out into your classroom, do you see this? Does this look familiar to you? These students that you're looking at right now in this photograph, they are bored stiff. They're not tired, right? They're not tired because they've had a long day or a hard night. They're bored, okay? What is not with what you're teaching, but how you're teaching. They are bored stiff. You don't want your students to look like this, okay? Why? Because they're not interested in what you're saying. And if they're not interested in the information that you're disseminating, you're not going to get their engagement, let alone keep it, okay? So if you don't want your students looking like, how about this? Yes, this is how you want your students to look while you are instructing and you're looking out over your classroom. This is what you want to see. These students right here, they are engaged. They're engaged. They're hanging on to your every word. They're sitting at the edge of their seats. They are interested in whatever information it is you're disseminating to them. They are inquisitive. Look at all those hands raised. They are hungry. They are hungry for more information. They are hungry to ask you questions and to receive answers. This, my fellow instructors, is what you want. This is how you want your classroom to be. The only way you're going to get there is with creativeness. You got to open that door. Okay, you have to open the door to creativity in order to get a photo shot of your students like that last slide, okay? And right now, I'm going to share with you a true story. So bear with me. I'm going to try to make it short and direct, okay? I do consultation. And I, about a year and a half ago, almost 2 years, I consulted with a Nurse AIde instructor who was having difficulty with keeping her students engaged. She basically told me that a lot of her students had a lot of behaviors and she just did not know how to keep them engaged. So I told her, well, the best thing for me to do would actually be to sit in on one of your classes. I said, you can invite me in as a guest speaker because she's taught in a school district, right? And I said, you can, just invite me in as a guest speaker. And what I'll do is just sit in, for about 30 minutes and, monitor your class, just to see what happens. And I said, but, I want you to, when they first come in, to introduce me and let them know why I'm here. If not, the entire time you're instructing, they're going to be more focused on the lady sitting in the back of the class, right? Which is me. So to keep their mind off of me, go ahead and introduce me to them and let them know why I'm there. Okay. So we got everything scheduled out. I told her, either, let me come in the beginning of class or towards the end, right? Because usually that's where I can, get more information from on how the class is being ran, especially at the beginning of class. So she said, okay. She said, well, you can come at the beginning, the class. I think her class started like at 8:55, and she only had one block, so it was 45 minutes. So time management was another issue that she had concerns with. So to make a long story short, I sat in on her class, and I watched her instruct. And afterwards, once, the bell rang and she let, the students left, she came to me and she said, okay, what do you think? And I told her, I said, you want me to tell you the truth, right? And she said, well, yeah, that's what I'm paying you for, right? You tell me the truth. I said, okay. I said, I have two types of truth. I have the raw truth and the cushion truth. Okay. I told her, I said, the raw truth is like hardcore. Okay. Hardcore. I'm telling you like it is. The cushion's truth, I'm still telling you like it is, but it's a little softer, right? So I gave her a choice. She told me she wanted the raw truth. I said, okay. I said, your instructions sucked. It sucked royally. I was bored half to death, right? And I said, as I looked out into your classroom, I said, the majority of your class was entertaining themselves with sidebar chatter. I said about 4 of them were on their cell phones, and she had like 17 students in this class periods. Well, 4 of them were actually on their cell phones, and I said only two of the 17 students I saw following along with you in their books. 2 out of 17 students she had engaged. Okay, only 2. That's about what, like 12%? Give or take a few. What do you think is going to happen with the other 88% that were not engaged? They didn't have behaviors. They were bored. I told her they were bored. But you know what? I can help you. I can help you. I can help you be creative. And this is when she told me, you know what? No, like I told you before, my creativity got on that bus when I was in my mid-20s and has not returned. I said, well, honey, let me tell you, it's time for you to get off the next bus stop. The next bus stop that bus stop's at, I said, your creativity needs to get off and jump on another bus and come on home, right? Needs to come on home. But I'm going to help you. And I'm going to tell you what she did, okay? And keep in mind, I have, like I said, I have 2 ways that I give you the truth. The raw way and the cushion way, okay? Raw way and cushion way. So I told her, I said, what I saw, I said, let me tell you this. First of all, I said, I'm not even going to tell you what I saw. I said, let's role play. And she's like, what do you mean role play? I said, let's role play. I want to role play. This is how I'm teaching you right now. I want you to go sit anywhere in the classroom, okay, where your students sit. Go take a seat. And I said, I'm going to be the teacher. Okay. And she looked at me. She said, okay. right? So she goes and she sits somewhere in the classroom acting as a student, and I go and sit behind her desk. And I posture myself exactly how she was. Now get this. While she was reading, she was sitting behind her desk, and her instruction was actually reading verbatim from the reference book. But how she was reading was what really blew me away, or how she was postured. She had one elbow on her desk and was holding up her head with her hand while she was reading. Okay. Now, being a student, okay, if I were a student and my instructor was instructing me in that way, the first thing that would come to mind was, they're not even interested in this subject matter. Why should we be interested? Why should I be be paying attention to him or her if, look how their posture is, right? And then I wouldn't think that that instructor was competent or knowledgeable of the information because they're reading verbatim from the book, right? Those are my thoughts. Y'all let me know what you think. So anyways, I postured myself how she was, okay, elbow on the desk, holding her head in her hand, and I started reading from the book. And I think I got through 3 sentences before she told me to stop. And I looked up at her and I said, "Why do you want me to stop?" And she said, "I can't do this." And I'm like, "What? You can't role play?" And she's like, "No." She was like, "I can't." She said, "That was not me, was it?" And I said, "Yes, dear, it was." And she was like, "Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh." She said, "I get it." She said, "I get it." She was like, did I really instruct like that?" I said, "Yes, you did." And she said, I really never realized that. And that's how I teach, or that's how I have taught for over 2 years. And I told her, I said, well, the reason why you didn't realize it is because this is your comfort zone. It's your comfort zone. You are comfortable teaching like this. I said, but what you don't realize is that your teaching style has hindered your students for over 2 years. Okay, and I'm not going to tell you what her pass rate was. I'll just tell you it was not good at all for the 2 years that she instructed nurse aides. But a lot of times as instructors, we get stuck in our comfort zone and we don't realize it, right? We don't realize it. And more importantly, we're not realizing the hindrance that it's causing our students. So if you put creativity on a bus, get it off, okay, and put it on another bus and bring it home, okay? Bring it home. You being creative is what is going to capture the interest and the engagement of your students. So you got to bring it back home, okay? And hopefully this presentation will help you. I'm going to focus on PowerPoint presentations in this presentation, okay? So it's going to be real interesting, and hopefully you will watch the entirety of this video. So I'm going to go ahead and advance to the next slide. I hope y'all enjoyed that true story. It was a true story, folks. Okay, it was a true story. And this instructor was not the only instructor that I rendered consultation services to who instructed that way. Okay, so that's scary. That's a little scary. So stepping out of your comfort zone, okay? Stepping out of your comfort zone is the first step that you need to achieve to become creative. You have to step out of your comfort zone. If your comfort zone is reading verbatim from out of a book, tell the book bye-bye. If it's sitting behind your desk, get rid of your desk. Get rid of your chair. Okay? If it's reading bullet points, thousands of bullet points on one slide, you got to get rid of that slide, modify it, do something. Okay, you have to step out of your comfort zone. Is it going to be easy? No, it's not going to be easy. Is it going to be hard? Difficult? Not really. But it is going to be challenging because for however many years you've instructed, this is how you've done it. So it may not be easy. It may not be difficult, but I can guarantee you it is going to be challenging. But you just have to take it one step at a time. Okay, you have to take it one step, one day at a time. But eventually, you're going to have to step out of that comfort zone, whatever that comfort zone is. Maybe it is sitting behind your desk or standing behind a podium. Okay, you got to get from behind those objects. Okay, and you have to stand on the front line. Okay, and be creative. Stand on that front line and teach your students. All right. Wow. Does somebody have any sunglasses? I need this PowerPoint slide is like glaring. Oh my gosh. You know what? This is the most common type of PowerPoint slides that I see when I go and visit different classrooms. Okay. This is it. White background with black print. Okay. Classic, right? But look at all those words. Oh my gosh, look at all those words. Let me tell you something. The average PowerPoint today, okay, the average PowerPoint contains 40 words or less. 40 words or less. I think this PowerPoint has, this slide right here that you're seeing right now has 59 words. That's including the title words. But the average PowerPoint slide today contains 40 words or less. And if you don't know, I'm going to tell you the maximum amount of information that and when I say we, I want you to think about your students, okay, that we retain at any one time is a max of 4 items. 4 items. So here on this PowerPoint slide, you can see I have 4 bullet points and I have 5 sub-bullet points. Your students, if you have PowerPoints like this, and I've seen some that are more wordy than this, okay? The font is like a 10 and a half to 11 font, and there's like about 10 to 12 bullet points on a slide. Very wordy. But even if your PowerPoint slide is like this, okay, not as wordy as those 10 or 12 bullet points, and if your students are only going to max out at 4 items as far as, retaining, they're going to be able to retain the definition of delegation, who can and cannot delegate, and the 5 rights. They're going to know that there's 5 rights of delegation. What they're not going to retain, which is extremely important, are the actual rights. Okay, the right task, circumstance, person, communication, and supervision. They're not going to retain that. And as a matter of fact, I challenge you. I challenge you to screenshot this PowerPoint slide. And on the first day of training, okay, you can use this as an icebreaker. It'll probably be a little fun. Okay, use this as an icebreaker. Put it in your PowerPoint slide. Okay, and leave it up, have your students to read it, leave it up for about a minute or 2, and then take it away. And then ask them to either verbalize or write down exactly what they remember on the slide. I can guarantee you they're not going to remember those 5 rights of delegation. They may not even remember the definition of delegation. They're going to remember who can and who cannot delegate. But they are definitely not going to remember the 5 rights of delegation. So if you want, the point I'm trying to get at is if you want your message to stick, if you want your students to retain this information, overcrowding your PowerPoint slide is not an option. Okay, it is definitely not an option. Okay, when your slides have too much text, it's more likely that your students are going to become preoccupied with reading what is on the slide, dividing their attention and preventing them from fully engaging in what you are saying. And get this. When your students are reading, keep this in mind. When your students are reading these slides while you're talking, right? So their focus isn't on you. They're not hearing a word you're saying. They're busy or preoccupied with reading the slide. They have an extra step to take, which is decoding, right? Because when we read, we have to decode what we read before we can actually understand what we have read. Does that make any sense? Right? When we're reading, when your students are reading, they're not only performing that step, but they have to perform the step of decoding in order for them to understand. And in the meantime, you're lecturing, you're probably giving really important or saying something really important, giving some important tips. They're not listening to you. They're focused on all of these words that are on this glaring, boring PowerPoint slide. Okay? That's what they're doing. And I'll tell you, 94% of the students that I've interviewed have said that the most annoying thing their instructor does is reading verbatim from their PowerPoint slides or verbatim from a book. And they also said that they perceive their instructor as not being competent, not being credible, and just not knowing the information themselves. And a question that I got from one student was, how can we trust our student if she doesn't even know the information? She has to read it from out of a book in order to teach us. Think about it. Your students are watching your every move. They're watching how you instruct. Okay? And once you lose their credibility, that's it. I mean, you've lost them. I did see one instructor who tried to spice this bland or glaring slide up by throwing some splashes of color in it. But still, your students aren't going to see that color. They're still going to be focused on that white background and the black print. All right. So this is what I'm going to do for you guys. I'm going to show you several different slides. And these are templates that I've created and that I use for my students. Okay. Now keep in mind, bullet points are the death of PowerPoint. They really are. And really, bullet points, to me personally, they're not for our students' well-being. They're for our well-being, right? Because I use bullet points to make sure I don't forget to say something. And I think the majority of instructors do, right? But since I've learned for, almost 4 years ago, I learned about bullet points and how they're the death of PowerPoint. I don't use them as often. And when I do, I put a twist to it, right? Because I'm not going to sit here and tell you I don't use bullet points anymore. I still do use bullet points, but not as often and not as many as I used to, like 4 or 5 years ago. But I still do. I can't get completely away from them. But like I said, I put a twist to it. So my students aren't focused on what's on the PowerPoint slide. They're focused on what I'm saying. Okay. So let me go ahead and advance to the next slide. So this PowerPoint, if your PowerPoints are looking like this, if this looks familiar to you, you want to think about modifying or altering your PowerPoint slides, okay? Wow, look at that. Understanding safe delegation. this is what your students are going to see. They're just going to see the title, nothing else. Guess what's going to happen next? All heads and eyes are going to turn to you. Now you have their attention. You have their focus. Now you can start lecturing. You can start talking, okay? And they're going to be hanging on your every word. And by listening to you, your students instantly get that message that you're sending them. And it's going to leave you free to influence and inspire them, keeping their interest and keeping them engaged. All right. So now, like with this PowerPoint slide, what I would do is, I'd say to my students, hey, now we're going to start talking about understanding safe delegation. But before I can start telling you about safe delegation, it's best that you know the meaning of delegation. What is delegation? Well, I'll tell you what delegation is. Delegation is when one person authorizes another person to perform certain nursing tasks under certain conditions. Okay? And you have to remember, nurse aides cannot delegate. Nurse aides cannot delegate, nor can they supervise other nurse aides. The licensed nurse is authorized to delegate nursing tasks. Okay, so I've said what I needed to say for this slide. My students were focused on me. They were hanging on every word. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this up. Now my visual learners, auditory learners, and my kinesthetic learners, they're going to be able to read that. They're going to write down whatever it is they need to write down. Then bam, the next point comes up. The nurse aides cannot delegate nor supervise other CNAs. And then the third point drops down. Okay, licensed nurses are authorized to delegate. So now you've already done your talking. Okay, you've already lectured on this slide. You had 100% student focus and engagement on you. Now you can give your students time to actually read the slide. Y'all see? Are y'all understanding where I'm coming from? Right? This is creativity. Okay? This is using your imagination on how to get and keep your students' interest and engagement, okay? Because once you get their engagement, I can guarantee you're going to see a difference in their performance, and you're going to see an increase in your first-time student pass rate, okay? Let me show you another example. So this template is basically the same. This is actually an interactive template, okay? And I'm sure you all know, when students are interactive, they usually learn faster and they retain the information more, okay? More so. So again, here with this template, all they see is understanding safe delegation. And like the last slide, now all eyes are going to be on you again. Okay, but here's the twist. Remember I told you all that I have not completely gotten away from bullet points. I still like using bullet points, but I don't use them as much. I really don't have a lot of bullet points, excuse me, on my PowerPoint slides. But this is going to show you how I arrange my bullet points and what I do with them, okay? So to get my students interactive, again, I'm going to tell them, hey, we're going to start talking about understanding safe delegation. But first, we're going to, talk about the definition. Hey, who knows what delegation is, right? This is how you get them interested. This is how you get them to start interacting. They're going to give you the definition. Now you're going to say, okay, can you as a nurse aide delegate? Okay, when they give you the answers, now you're going to say, okay, well, if you as a nurse aide cannot delegate, who do you think can? This is going to get them to start using their brain, right? It's going to get them to start thinking. So this is how, when I say that I haven't completely gotten away from bullet points, this is how I use my bullet points in my presentations. And it really opens up It really opens up the opportunity for classroom discussion. Okay, it really does. So you can use this PowerPoint slide template as such. I'm going to advance to the next slide and show you another example. So what do they say about pictures, right? Pictures speak more, I think it's pictures speak louder than words, right? So when you have this, and what I like to do is I don't like to put the title up yet, okay, if I'm using pictures. I like to put have the picture show first, and that way my students they're engaged on the pictures, like what's going on. You know, they start thinking, okay, well, this one, somebody's handing somebody a key. Someone's, a CNA's taking blood pressure, and then you got some, nurses standing over here. What could this be about, right? And then that's what I'll open up or, show the title. Hey, we're going to start talking about understanding safe delegation. Y'all had a little time to, look at these pictures. Tell me what you think about these pictures. What do you think the definition? Look at that first picture. What is that first picture showing you? What do you think delegation is? What's the meaning of it, right? And this is how you can use these pictures as bullet points, right? Because it's still giving you cues. The pictures are giving you cues as to what you need to say. And you can use these pictures, you want to use pictures that support your message, right? And using these pictures makes it more memorable for your students. Because when they see on your test, you may have, which of the following defines delegation. They're going to remember that key. They're going to remember one hand handing over that key to another hand. Okay. And then that's going to tell them, oh, okay, well, delegation is basically when one person authorizes or tells another person or delegates another task for another person to perform, right? They may not know the definition per se, exactly, but they're going to be able to connect. Okay, y'all, are y'all following me, right? I love using picture PowerPoint slides. I really do. I really do. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the next slide. Now this slide, this template is one of my favorite that I love to use. And I also use this as, little breaking points in PowerPoint slides just to evaluate my students' learning, and understanding of the information. So you can even use these as flashcards, okay? And this is what I call my Peekaboo. Okay, my Peekaboo slide template. Again, you just have the title here, so your students will know that they're gonna, you're gonna be lecturing on delegation. But again, nothing but 3 shapes, right? So where do you think their attention is going to go? It's gonna go straight to you. Okay. Again, they're gonna be hanging on the edge of the seats. They're gonna be hanging on to every word that you speak. And they're gonna, excuse me, they're gonna be interested and engaged in what you are saying, not reading from a PowerPoint slide like that very first one. Okay. So once again, as with all the slides, once you give the definition, once you inform the students who can or cannot delegate, now you can flip these babies over. Okay. And as you flip them over, I would just say, okay, well, here's, here is the, excuse me, I'm sorry, I had a pop-up come here. But here is the definition for delegation. If you want to write it down, go ahead and write it down. Hey, I got the key words or the focus words in different colors and bolded. Okay, they're all capitalized. There you go. Nurse aides cannot delegate, nor can they supervise other nurse aides, and licensed nurses are authorized to delegate. Okay, so you have these words, these key words that are popping out at your students because they're colored. Okay, they're not the same color as the rest of the text. They're bolded and they are capitalized, like they're just screaming out at the student, right? So they're going to be able to connect authorize to delegate. They're going to be able to connect nurse aides cannot to delegation. They're going to be able to connect licensed nurses, authorized, delegation. All of this makes connections, which will make it easier for the student to learn. It's going to enhance or refine their retaining the information. This is creativity. Okay, it may not seem much, but it's a lot. Okay, it's a lot. You want to think, when it comes to creativity, you want to think about the impact that it's going to have on your students, right? And they always say, that saying is less is more, right? Less is more. So you want to think about the impact and not the volume, okay, when it comes to PowerPoint slides. You can impact a person's imagination and memory with just one person better off than you can with 10 bullet points that are really, really wordy. Okay. I hope y'all are okay. Hey, look, if you want if you want this Peekaboo template slide, and it's just going to be that one slide, okay, and in the notes section of the slide, I'll have the directions on how you can create your own, because maybe you'll want to make, flashcards or something, use it as flashcards. But if you want it, you can email me at juliereynolds@natsapconsultant.com or natsapinstructorjar@outlook.com. Hey, got game? Do you got game? Let me tell you, some of the most creativity comes from interactive games, okay? Like Jeopardy. What else? You have the 100,000 Pyramid. Are you smarter than a fifth grader? Wheel of Fortune, Family Feud, right? I have one other game template, Deal or No Deal. And even though that has absolutely nothing to do with nursing, you can't even modify it to do, to pertain to nursing, but it's just a fun game that I like to use as an icebreaker, and I usually do it on the very first day of training. And the reason why I do it is because I train at a school. Okay, I train at a school that, I have students from 7 different schools that come to my class. And not everybody knows each other, right? And this is a way for, my students to get to know each other. I have them choose the person who's going to be actually choosing the briefcases. And then I tell the rest of the students, now look, y'all are, his or her teammates. Y'all need to encourage them on what or which briefcase to pick. Right? And this gets them to start talking to one another and getting to know each other, right? So that Deal or No Deal is a really fun icebreaker, but you can use a lot of these other different game templates to be more specific to what you are teaching and instructing, okay? Also, role play. I love doing role play. I actually have the AP or assistant principal come in from time to time. And I love it when, I'm talking about when I'm lecturing on dementia and Alzheimer's and mental health, because he'll come in unannounced and he will portray to be a patient who has dementia or Alzheimer's. And he'll walk into the room, he'll have a hospital gown on, and he'll walk into the room and he'll still just start fumbling around with stuff, right? And I really get to see how my students respond to this person who has dementia and or Alzheimer's, or who is confused, right? So role play actually allows your students to get a really good feel of how things are going to be in real life, like a real life situation. So role playing is really fun. Also scenarios, okay, scenario based activities. A lot of times I will, have scenarios written out for my students. Before class starts, I may set up 1 or 2 bed areas. I know one time I had where, we were talking about safety and about falls prevention. I had one bed set up where the mannequin was actually trying to get out of bed. I had the side rails raised, and I had the mannequin. I had one leg and one arm over the bed, just to see how my students would respond to it. I had another scenario where the person had a diagnosis of COPD. They were on 4 liters of oxygen nasal cannula, and I had it to where the person started having difficulty breathing. The oxygen, I had the oxygen machine off. I had their device. They weren't wearing the nasal cannula. So scenarios just to see, I wanted to see is, are one of my nurse aides going to turn on that oxygen, right? Because they're not allowed to. I wanted to see what they were going to do, how they were going to respond, if they were going to go get the nurse. So scenarios are another really good way that you can introduce creativity into your instruction, okay? Hey, if you want one of the game templates, either Deal or No Deal, Wheel of Fortune, Family Feud, the $100,000 pyramid, I think it's the $100,000 pyramid or the $10,000 pyramid that I have, or Jeopardy. Again, here are my email addresses. You can email me at either or. You can choose only one game template, okay? And I'll send that template to you. Again, you can actually alter it, alter it to meet your teaching needs, okay? Whatever subject matter you're teaching on. So if you want the game plate, email me. If you want my Peekaboo PowerPoint slide template, go ahead and email me and I'll be happy to send that out to you. Hey guys, this presentation is going on 45 minutes. I have got to end it soon. So, as always, hey, look, continue to inspire, okay? Continue to inspire. As always, I'm going to end all of my presentations with your students' performance is a reflection of your teaching, instruction, training, and leadership. You will want to eat, drink, think, breathe, and instruct by this philosophy each and every day. Your feet steps into your classroom, okay? So remember, your students' performance is a reflection of you, their instructor, okay? Here's all of my contact information. If you'd like to reach out to me or connect with me, please feel free to do so. You can join my YouTube community at www.youtube.com/C/Julie Reynolds, NatSat Consultant. Again, this is my original YouTube channel. It's for Nurse AIde students and candidates. However, there are several instructors that are a part of this community. This channel will open up your eyes to what students and candidates are thinking, what they are saying, and hopefully it will make you into a better instructor. You can always better yourself as an instructor, okay? I'm always looking for ways to become greater, okay? Or you can also connect with me at my Facebook community at www.facebook.com/NatSapInstructor. Visit my Etsy storefront at www.etsy.com/shop/smashfads. I have my Smash That CNA exam book in digital format now for $35.50. You can purchase that book. You can, use some of that information, really a lot of it, the majority of it, and integrate it into your classroom training. A lot of good information in that book that I have for you and Nurse AIde students. As always, I just want to tell y'all thank you for supporting me, supporting my channel. If you know of any other instructors that would benefit from my instructor channel or even my student candidate channel, please send them my way. Have them to subscribe to my channel. So as I did in the beginning, I'm going to tell y'all in the end, please hit that subscribe button, especially if you are new to my channel and you are watching my videos. Click the like button on this video and all of my other videos. Again, you doing so helps make my channel more recognizable to the public here on YouTube, and it also helps people locate my channel more easily on YouTube and Google. And last but not least, don't forget to ring that notification bell so you can be notified whenever I upload new content. Thank you.